Sunny 93.3, thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got the third annual Snow Jam Comedy Festival coming up on Thursday, February 21st. It goes through Saturday, February 23rd. It'll be here before you know it. And joining us on the phone right now is one of the many comedians who will embark on Sioux Falls, South Dakota during the dead of winter, Alan Richardson. How you doing, Alan?
Doing well, John. Thanks for having me.
Now, where are you from, sir?
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
So you're probably used to the cold weather. You guys get kind of chilly weather there, don't you?
I stepped outside just to make this phone call.
There you go. And is it kind of chilly right now there in Boston?
I think it's in like the mid-20s.
Okay. See, so you're kind of used to this.
Not terrible.
Yeah, at least it's not negative 20. That's when it gets really bad.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been to South Dakota once for this festival.
I was going to say that was 2 years ago, wasn't it? You weren't here last year, but 2 years ago.
Right, but do you remember what the weather was 2 years ago for that?
Was it? I'm trying to remember if it was a decent week or if it was a terrible week. I don't remember. What was it like?
It was like 50 degrees out the entire weekend.
That's right. Because I remember we
were
had
walking around with T-shirts, and I was like, was this a lie with the snow?
Yeah, we don't really get cold weather. We just tell people that to keep them away.
Yeah, it felt like the Iceland-Greenland situation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so when you were in Sioux Falls last time, do you have any fond memories, things that you did while you were here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love to walk around the town. It has a cool little downtown area. I always judge a place by its record shop, and Total Drag held up for me.
Nice. Very good. And now, you've been doing stand-up comedy for how long? When did you get started in this business?
It was 2013 I started.
And what was it that led you to that? How did you get started in the comedy show, doing comedy shows?
You know, I loved comedy growing up and everything, and I had to take a public speaking class in college, and I ended up doing like a 10-minute speech on the plots of all the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
And I ended up, it gets funny because those movies are so horrible. And everyone in the class was like, you should just do that on stage elsewhere. I was like, all right. And then my friend just booked me on a comedy show and told me I was not allowed to back out.
That is awesome. And then you look where you are today. Now, ahead of time, you were saying that you had an illegal basement venue. You got to tell me more about that, Alan.
Yeah, well, some friends of mine started in Alston, just like right outside Boston. And I helped them run some shows out of it and book it there. And it was just like, there's a lot of punk venues and basements and stuff. So we took, instead of, loud punk music and mosh pits, it was just someone bought 30 camper chairs and set up some pylons in their basement and just made a tiny stage and had the chairs. And it ran for 2 years. By the end of it, we had a few monthly shows that happened like every month. And people showed up, and it was just packed out every single night. We had a show. There was a show every Friday and Saturday. Never posted an address, obviously. For reasons I can't go that into, there was a weird, the police were told to not bother us anymore, and so there was just it was a bizarre situation.
That is funny.
We eventually got kicked out by the landlord, and it was my friend Dan that ran the show, Oh God No. He lived there chiefly. He was the one fully running it. I went to move in to help him run it, and they got completely kicked out. So the last night that we had a show there, we ran one from noon on Saturday to noon Sunday, and did 24 straight hours of live podcasts and comedy shows.
Oh wow!
And then I slept for 18 straight hours.
Well, we're excited to have you at the third annual Snow Jam Comedy Festival. Now, when you're here, are you going to have any of your albums? You just put out a new one, right?
Yep, I'm putting that one out really just to help me buy a plane ticket to get over there.
Hey, there you go. That's awesome.
I had recorded one late in 2017, and I had never gotten around to putting it out, and I was like, well, this is a perfect excuse. So I just called it the Gas Money EP.
That's awesome. And people can find that online, or where do they go about finding that?
They can find it on my go to my Facebook, it's Alan Richardson, and on Bandcamp, Alan Richardson, ALAN for Alan, and then Richardson. Should be self-explanatory.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm going to throw a link on our Facebook page to make that easy as well. And in addition to this being on the radio, we'll have this as a podcast, and I'll throw a link in the description in the podcast. So hopefully we'll help people find it. And if they can't find it with all of that help, you didn't want them to buy your album anyway. So.
I'll have my first one on there too. I have one called An Unknown Man in Unknown Places, where it's a collection of me in various basements all around Massachusetts and New England.
That is awesome. Well, I love your sense of humor, even on just the albums. I think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. It's fun. I had recorded all of them with my phone, and I actually got snowed in for 2 days, and I was like, I got nothing to do, so I just edited all the sets together to an album to kill the time.
That is very cool. Again, our guest today, Alan Richardson. He's one of the many comedians. We've got 30 comedians from around the country, many from warm climates, and we convinced them to come to Sioux Falls in the middle of winter for the third annual Snow Jam Comedy Festival. Super excited for it. It's coming up on February 21st, 22nd, and 23rd at venues all over this great city. Alan, we will see you in a few weeks, my friend.
I'll see you then, John. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Alan Richardson, our guest today, and I'll throw a link to his information and all of the information at facebook.com/sunnyradio.